Sounding
I
good.
reckon. I reckon that'll be all right.
I got all my tabs ready to go.
Yep.
Chickadee check 1, 2, 3. YouTube. Hi, YouTube.
Pop up YouTube. Pop up. Pop up
I missed
YouTube.
that show. Pop up video.
I haven't even thought about pop up video in forever.
The
Let
early
me.
2000s. Where have you gone?
Samantha and I were talking about that last night. There's something about those 2000s movies, especially the early ones, that have a certain charm to them.
Yeah.
Like, I think now that those who grew up with those are getting older, we can appreciate that more, appreciate them more.
Oh, yeah. Does it sound okay?
Yep.
All right. Good.
Had to wait for both of us to talk.
All right. Well, I've got everything good to go. And all my tabs are open. Everything's good to go.
Yep, I'm ready.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Greetings, programs, and we're back for another episode of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
And my name is Derek Diamond.
So at the very top of the show, just want to let everybody know, Patreon is making a change to their app through the Apple Store. So the best way I can describe this is if you are subscribed to any shows through the Patreon app through the Apple Store, in November, your prices are going to increase. But from what I can tell, if you're already an existing member, it's not going to change, but new members will be charged an extra, I think, 40% to cover what Apple is charging Patreon to in the App Store. So, if I would just say, if you're subscribed through the Apple app in November, let us know if your price increases, and I would say just go straight through the Patreon website to subscribe to whatever Patreon you're a part of. Just letting everybody know that the Patreon app through the Apple Store is getting charged by Apple now.
But luckily there's a little workaround
Yeah.
with that. No, and I don't know how it works for a lot of other like podcasting apps. I've used Downcast for years.
Mm-hmm.
And you can manually put in the RSS feed,
Yeah.
which Patreon will provide you.
Yeah.
Like whether it's this or any other show you listen to through Patreon. And it's just easier to kind of plug it in that way. It still updates when it's supposed to. So in my experience, it's been a lot easier to just do that.
Yeah, same here. I use Downcast as well. What all of the shows that I subscribe through Patreon, I just grab that RSS feed, put it right in there, pulls it up. I don't even have to worry about it anymore. So I don't know if it's going to make your price increase. It says that it's not going to if you're already a member through the Apple app, but you never know. So this is your warning that in November prices might increase. And if you're at the dollar level, it's not going to change that much. It's like 40 cents. But, if you're paying $5, $10, $15, $20 to some Patreons, you're going to start seeing quite a price hike. So it's going to make a lot of people mad, I think.
Especially those that don't know about it.
Yeah.
Whenever they do find out, whenever their account is charged more,
Yeah.
they're not going to be happy about that.
So that's just a little update for you patrons out there. And not just for our show, it's for every show through Patreon. So if you're through the Patreon app, just look out for that in November. That's when it's going to change.
Yep. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
So how was your week?
Pretty good. I'm trying to think of what all I did. Well, I will say a happy belated birthday to Mama Diamond, Donna
Yeah.
Diamond herself. Yesterday was her birthday, so went out to dinner with Samantha and my parents. So had kind of a low key day, but no, it was a pretty relaxing weekend for the most part. Played a lot of Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which I'll be talking about a little bit later on. Some more Paper Mario. It's a Mario household here, so which is not a bad thing. But I'm trying to think. That's been pretty much it. The rest of the week was pretty uneventful. What about you?
Same for me. Saturday was I went in and worked a little overtime Saturday morning. I actually felt kind of nice outside on Saturday morning. It was like a nice little hint, just a hint of fall in the air on Saturday morning. So that made me feel good. And then I got home and slept for like 3 straight hours.
The best way I could compare it is, in the old Grinch Stole Christmas animated special, how he takes the one little crumb
Yeah.
from the mouse. That little crumb was the taste we got.
Yeah, that was the taste.
So I will say this Thursday. So my wife and I, we work at a farmer's market on Thursday nights. And once the sun kind of, like, it wasn't completely down, but it was behind like all the buildings and everything, it felt like a little taste of fall.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So I know, I saw somebody the other day, they were mowing their lawn at like 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, dude, you are out of your mind. I have to wait till the sun gets behind our house
Yeah.
for me to mow the lawn. Otherwise, it's just too hot.
Yeah, for those of you who don't live in the South, you don't know the torture that we go through from like July to October.
But we don't want you to know. Like, I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind it if it was a dry heat.
That too, yeah. The humidity is just, ugh.
Oh, it's so gross.
There was like a day like 2 weeks ago when I was leaving work, and I felt like I was going to be suffocated
Yeah.
from the humidity. It was awful.
It's like people want to
Absolutely
know
awful.
what the humidity is like here in the South along the Gulf Coast. Imagine walking outside in the heat, but you're covered in a wet wool blanket. Like, that's what it feels like.
I'd say that's accurate.
It's pretty gross. I don't like it.
No. What do you say we talk about some more positive stuff?
Yeah. Actually, we're ready to go into the news for this evening. Yeah. No. Yeah.
I said, yeah.
Oh, okay. You dropped out there for a second. I was scared.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. Here we go. First story tonight is brought to us, of course, by Mr. Armez Jackson. Oh, stupid soundboard's doing that weird thing again. If you have a news story you'd like us to cover, send them to nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. And the first story is from NintendoLife.com. Surprise! Doom and Doom 2 get newly enhanced release on Switch eShop. With QuakeCon starting, most people were probably expecting some announcements from id Software, but was anyone expecting enhanced versions of Doom and Doom 2 to land without warning? No, but that's exactly what happened. Doom and Doom 2 is an enhanced, or Doom plus Doom 2 is an enhanced re-release of the first two Doom games, bringing plenty of new features and updates, and it's out right now. The big ticket item is a brand new Legacy of Rust episode developed by id Software, Night Dive Studios, and Machine Games. The new version also gives online cross-platform death matches and co-op, brand new soundtrack recordings, boom source capacity, and accessibility options.
Yeah, this is a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Pun intended for the top of the article. But no, I don't think anybody was expecting this. There's a 1-minute trailer that's attached to this, and it looks really cool. If you're a fan of the old Doom games, I think this is definitely something that's worth picking up.
And it's only
it's only $10.
Too. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and you get Doom 1 and 2, TNT Evolution, the Plutonia Experiment, Master Levels for Doom 2, No Rest for the Living, Sigil Legacy of Rust, which is a new episode created in collaboration by id Software, Night Dive Studios, and Machine Games, and a new deathmatch map pack featuring 25 maps.
That's a lot.
For $10, yeah, that's really, really good.
Oh, and the cross-platform deathmatch and co-op for up to 16 players.
This was a something that I was not expecting, but
Me
you know,
neither.
as someone I've dabbled very, very briefly into the Doom franchise for $10.
Yeah.
I think this is worth it.
Well, honestly, I haven't really played Doom since 11th grade when I was in computer class. Once we got done with all of our work, we would, all of us boys in class would haul ass as fast as we could to get done with our work so we could go up, run up to the front of the classroom and get to pick out of the floppy disk she had, and she had Doom in there. So I used to play a lot of Doom back in high school.
Would you say the game's definitely better than the movie?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that movie. Can we please do a commentary track for that
I
movie one
was
of these days?
I was gonna recommend that because people don't talk about that movie, but oof.
Dude, I saw
My
that in the theater. It
oh, I'm
was like,
sorry.
oh, I paid money for this.
Minus the first person sequence, it's a really bad movie.
That's the
Not
only
bad as
part.
in good.
That is the only part of the
It's
movie worth watching. Not saying it. I haven't seen it since then. It probably doesn't hold up, but that first person section at the end of the movie, probably just go YouTube that and just watch that.
I was gonna say chances are you can probably find it on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure.
But no, I'd be all for a Doom commentary track. Next up, also from NintendoLife.com, Capcom wants to revive all of its legacy fighting games on modern platforms. Speaking to IGN at EVO 2024 recently, Matsumoto explained how Capcom is aware of the demand and hopes making these classic fighters more accessible to new audiences could lead to bigger and better things going forward. He says, "We have a lot of other legacy fighting games that we know fans out there really want them to be re-released again on modern platforms, and the feeling is mutual on the development side. We want people to get to know all these other classic games. What we can do right now is try to re-release them, and so people who may have never had the chance to play those games get familiarized with them, and from there, hopefully we can go on to bigger and better things." My thought is just a simple two-worded question. Why not?
Yeah.
Like really, why not? I mean, if you re-release them, they'll sell at least decently well, I think,
Yeah.
because I mean, Capcom has a reputation of making good content.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Oh,
worst case scenario is it doesn't sell very well.
and not even just the fighting games, but there's so much in the Capcom library that they could bring back for modern consoles. Like even going in, all the way back to the NES. I mean, you got games that people don't really know about, like Section Z, stuff like that. Like, Gunsmoke or Gun.Smoke. You could bring that back in a modern setting. Like, why not? Just go back into the archive and just start remastering and re-releasing stuff. I'm here for it.
If they did a Capcom like remastered fighting collection, that'd be a day one purchase
Oh yeah.
easily.
Because oh man,
Yep.
I was looking through. Actually, one of the things I did this weekend was I have a thumb drive with every single Super Nintendo game ever made on it, and I was loading some stuff into my emulator, and good lord, there's a lot of American and EU, European ROMs in there too. God, the different Street Fighter ROMs, there's got to be at least 30 different Street Fighter ROMs in there. I'm like, I don't even know
believe it.
which one's which.
I assume some of them are modded.
Probably, I would guess so.
Yeah, I can't remember how many Street Fighters there are, but yeah, that's wild.
But I'm for
Every
it.
Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, if you ever want it, I can let you have it there. And I got them all legally. I purchased every single one of those, so don't come after me, Nintendo. But
That's awesome.
you didn't hear that, Nintendo. Next story, also from Nintendo Life. Rare Nintendo Dolphin GameCube prototype reemerges on social media. Those familiar with the Nintendo hardware and its development code names will know that the GameCube was once known as the Dolphin. In fact, this is probably one of the more well-known code names in console history, aside from maybe the Revolution for the Wii and the NX for the Switch. Let's see. Who is this? The prototype of the GameCube had been known to exist, but the only photo was so blurry it could have potentially passed as a UFO or Bigfoot sighting. But there is a new look at the Nintendo Dolphin, courtesy of Console Variant on social media. The account posted an image of the console with a clear view of the logo and disc tray. And what's cool about this picture is it's got the GameCube logo, but it says Nintendo Dolphin on the very top of it.
Yeah, this is real cool. Whenever I pulled up the Google Doc earlier, this was really what jumped out at me because I know that GameCube is a much cooler name than the Dolphin.
Yeah.
but still to actually see that this will might be considered a thing is really cool. And it doesn't look all that different from the GameCube.
No.
You can tell that a little bit of the button placement's different, the button layout's a little different, but it looks like a GameCube.
I'm trying to get a closer look at this, the GameCube logo on the top of it, because it's not the exact GameCube logo, but it says Nintendo Dolphin underneath, but the logo is so weird. It's like 3 G's. It's like a cube made out of G's, and I'm wondering what that was from.
You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of, the layout in the Qbert game, how you're having to jump on all the different blocks with the different colors, like your reds, your greens, because you can see a pretty decent variety of colors in the logo. And yet it looks like the conception of what would become the GameCube logo. You definitely see the inspiration in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, it's close enough to it that if you just glance at it, you'll just see GameCube, but upon closer inspection, you're like, doesn't say, GC. It just has 3 what looks like G's to me, and I'm like, well, I wonder what that originally meant.
I'd love to see this in person.
Oh, me too.
This would be so cool.
I would love to have this in person.
Oh, same.
So get over to Patreon and
oh man, that's awesome.
Get us up to the $10,000 a month level, and we'll buy this for ourselves.
We will make the drive to wherever this is, and we will buy it, and we'll make a travel blog like you and Jacob do for Oban Bikers.
Oh yeah.
Our last story comes to us from GameRant.com. I'm going to butcher this name.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
me too.
Ayaneo releases Pocket DMG.
That's actually probably more correct than what I thought it was. Like Ayaneo.
Ayani. We're probably both wrong.
Hey, Neo, what are you doing over there in the Matrix?
Ayaneo releases Pocket DMG, a powerful retro gaming handheld equipped with an OLED display. A lot of gamers are looking for a handheld gaming experience this year. Well, they could go buy the Switch. With options like the Steam Deck, OLED, and ROG Ally X, many of these smaller portable gaming companies are getting overshadowed. But it doesn't seem like that will be the case with the Ayaneo Pocket DMG. While it's not the flashiest handheld to be released this year, it is a modernized Game Boy with an OLED display, a dream for most retro gamers. Retro gaming is currently experiencing a renaissance period, largely thanks to Ayaneo. They are making fantastic retro emulators that are gorgeous, well-built, and make emulation accessible regardless of your experience with emulators. It's powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon G3X Gen 2 SoC and promises top-tier gaming performance. It's the same one we saw in the Pocket S, which competes reasonably well with the Steam Deck and ROG Ally. Because the Pocket S already had some issues with overheating in more intense games, we are not expecting the Pocket DMG to be a replacement for a Steam Deck. However, the performance is still outstanding for such a small form factor. Yeah, it looks basic, but I mean, to me, the perfect handheld console was the Game Boy.
Yeah.
So why change what worked?
I mean, this thing looks cool. I would love to have one, but even the cheapest model, 8 gigabytes and 128. Um, wait, what does this mean? 8 gigabyte and 128 gigabyte for 340. And then it says 12
Oh, it's
gigabyte.
for storage and memory.
Oh,
I
okay.
got it.
Yeah, okay,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
That took me a second. I'm like, why is there two different listings for gigabytes?
It's not worded very well.
Yeah. So storage and memory, 8 gigabyte and 128 gigabyte for $340. 12 gigabyte and 256 gigabytes for 421, going up to $501. That's a lot to pay for just a little handheld to play some retro games on. That's a little out of my price range.
Yeah, I would say so. If you are interested, though, it's available through Indiegogo for pre-order and is supposed to ship out in October of this year. So if you got some extra cash to lay around and you're looking for a handheld, definitely look into this.
Yeah, you got $400 laying around. Go grab one of these up.
Yeah.
But now it is time for this month in video game history. August 15th of 1987, Nintendo releases Metroid in North America. Never heard of it.
It's that one game, with the girl with the face
Yeah.
that does the thing
And the thing
at the
and
place.
the stuff.
Yeah. Or was that other game?
How was that other one?
I can't. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. I get them confused. I've gone back and I've tried to play the original Metroid, and I respect this game a lot. It's a little tough to go back and play. When you
Yeah.
have Super Metroid, when you have Fusion, you have games that are, to me, immensely better than
Yeah.
the original
Well,
Metroid.
you got Zero Mission, which is basically a remake of the
Yeah.
first game. So why not just go play that? It's better, easier to navigate. Like, I love the original Nintendo game. Don't get me wrong. It's actually, I think that was the first game I ever purchased for myself, just saving up like, birthday and Christmas money and cutting lawns and things like that. But to go back and play it now is so hard. Like, it's just, I just don't have the mental capacity or the time that I did when I was a kid to put into that game.
August 28th of 1987, Konami releases Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest in Japan, the second Castlevania title released for the NES/Famicom, and also got a reference in one of our favorite movies, The Wizard.
Yeah, I like Castlevania too, even though it was kind of weird, like very cryptic back in the day. But playing it through the years, even as an adult, I played it a few years ago with a walkthrough. It's very enjoyable with a walkthrough.
Yeah, and as someone that didn't grow up with the Castlevania games, I don't have a problem with Castlevania 2.
And I
Like,
honestly,
I've enjoyed it.
I did call the remember the Nintendo Power, what were they called, the game, what were they
Oh,
called,
here, let me look it up. Let's
the
see.
game
Nintendo.
somethings the the number
Let's
you
see.
could call for,
Yeah, let's see.
what were they
Well,
called?
no, it wasn't support.
No.
Let's see. Let me put in the 90s. Nintendo Gameplay Counselor.
Game counselors, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, now I remember, because
Yep.
Counselor's Corner in
Yep.
Nintendo Power. My mom actually let me call one of the counselors one time, the council number, and it was Force Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, because I rented it when I was a kid, and I could not figure this game out when I was a kid.
Did they help you get through the game?
No, they did not. And I think it ended up being like a $10 phone call back in like 1987, 88, whenever it was.
Darn it, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Get better counselors.
August 27th of 1992, Nintendo releases Super Mario Kart in Japan, the first in the Mario Kart series, creating the mascot go-kart subgenre of racing games.
Boy, I wonder if Nintendo had any idea that this would start like an epic trend of, not just the fact that Mario Kart continues and is probably the most popular spin-off of the Mario series, but you look at like Crash Team Racing, you look at the Sega All-Stars game, everyone has tried to mimic the Mario Kart model.
Yeah. I can't believe we're only on 8. Being 32 years ago now, you'd think we'd be on like Mario Kart 15 at this point. But, those Mario Kart games just have a long tail on them.
I'm pretty sure that Mario Kart 8 is milked completely dry.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like it has got to be like the Arizona desert.
Dude, it came out on the Wii U.
Yes.
And we're still playing it. And they did not put out a new Mario Kart racing game technically did not put a Mario Kart out for the Switch specifically. The Switch is 7 years old at this point. Did not put a Mario Kart out for it.
That would actually be a pretty good prediction, is that a new Mario Kart will be a launch title for the Switch too.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Mario Kart, probably a new Mario game too, like Mario Odyssey 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I think you got to have, I would say Mario or Zelda, but Zelda's not happening.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, if you put out a new Mario Kart and a new Mario platformer and maybe do like Star Fox or one of their other, long-standing IPs that we haven't heard from in forever.
Yeah, Mario
That'd
Kart
be a pretty
8,
solid launch title.
Mario Kart 8 is like an old dish rag at this point. It's just hanging by threads.
That still works. Yeah. August 24th of 1996, Valve is founded, which of course created Half-Life, Counter-Strike, Portal, Day of Defeat, Team Fortress, Left 4 Dead, and Dota.
And not to mention Steam.
Yeah, and Steam, yeah.
Which is why they haven't put out a new any new games in the past like 15 years, because all they're doing is Steam.
I mean, you can't fault them for it though.
Dude,
I mean, you look how popular Steam is.
Like, and they and they've like had people come in, like companies come in and want to purchase Valve, and they're just like, nah, like we're just over here doing our thing, just making just billions, just doing nothing, basically just sitting there with Steam. I don't blame them.
And for the longest time, like Half-Life 3 was like the most requested sequel, or up there with the most requested sequels of all time. But the thing is, like, you look at how much money they're making with Steam, they don't really need to.
Yeah. I think will come out eventually, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon.
I mean, what they're doing is smart, though.
Yeah.
Just it's what's making them the most money.
Why can't I come up with something like Steam?
You're preaching to the choir there, my friend.
August 30th of 2004, Pikmin 2 is released for the GameCube in North America. That's your neck of the woods there, Pikmin games.
I can't believe that this game, along with what we're about to talk about next, is about to turn 20 years old.
Welcome
it is
to
absolutely
retro.
Insane.
They're officially retro now.
Yeah, I know. Pikmin 2 is such a good game. I love the original Pikmin because it came along at a time that I think Nintendo needed a new franchise. And it was really popular, and they took what made Pikmin 2 took what made Pikmin 1 great and tweaked it a little bit and then added some new elements to it. It's a really, really good game. One of my favorite GameCube games of all time.
Yeah.
Also released on August 30th of 2004, Yuke's releases WWE Day of Reckoning for the GameCube in North America. I spent countless hours with friends creating each other, and we would just beat the you know what out of each other in ladder matches and cage matches. It was There's some stories I could tell that would not be appropriate for this podcast,
Yeah.
but that I could tell, you guys off air. But
When is
there was
WrestleMania? February?
it's in
March?
April.
Oh, April. Yeah, we'll
Mhm.
save. You should do this. Let's just do Wrestling Month, WWE Wrestling Month for April,
Yeah.
and you can
Yeah.
review this. And I had a couple of wrestling games on the Super Nintendo ROMs that I had. I'm like, maybe we ought to do these for WrestleMania month.
Yeah. Yeah, we should invite Joey on
Yeah.
to talk about him too.
I'm sure he'd love that.
Oh, 100%.
But that brings us to the end of this month video game history. Before we go into the review tonight, Derek, would you like to do our Patreon shout-outs?
As always, we like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out Brian Piotrowski, Nick W., Eld the Zombie, Yup Fed, a.k.a. Knife, James, a.k.a. at Jimbo Jr. over on our Discord, Raven, Danny House, Justin Nispel, John West, Daniel Salmon, Mr. B. Res Coffee himself, Mike Eveland, Tyler Watson, Axeblade07, Armez Jackson, Carlos Longoria, a.k.a. the rechristened I Am the Rampage,
Rampage!
Staff Sergeant Sketch, Gus and Penny, Matthew Salmon, Mr. Joey Image, and of course,
Mama Diamond. Happy birthday, Mama Diamond.
Yep, happy belated birthday to Donna Diamond. Thank you all so much for your continued contributions and keeping the lights on for us here at the Nerd Cave Retro Podcast. I might as well just pipe in a pre-recorded segment of me talking about this, but for as little as $1 a month, you get early access to our commentary tracks. And if you want some grade A content, you could check out our Thunder in Paradise commentary tracks, which I know we've talked about it, but those were two of the most fun commentary tracks that I think we've ever done.
Dude, I'm still glowing from those commentary tracks. That was the most ridiculous TV show I've ever seen. And I can't think of a crazier TV show than that. I just can't.
It's watching it as an experience.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. I won't say if it's good or bad. It is an experience.
It's definitely
that
something. If you listen to the commentary track and you watch along with it, it's definitely something you need to watch with friends. Because if you watch it by yourself, it's just going to be like, the hell am I watching? But when you're watching with friends, it's like, it is comedy gold, that show.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But in addition to that, not only do you get early access to our commentary tracks, but you get your own RSS feed with 0 ads. If you want to listen to us completely uninterrupted, all you got to do is head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And for new patrons, be sure to send us your social media info, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, so we can give you a proper shout out.
And tonight we're going to be talking about...
If that doesn't make you want to get up off your couch or out of your seat and dance, then I can't help you. I'm sorry, but yeah. So this is a game that I've honestly been excited to talk about for quite a while. It's I could say it's newly minted retro because it officially turned retro last year. But we're continuing our Mario discussion with Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga, which is a 2003 role-playing video game developed by Alpha Dream and published by Nintendo for the Game Boy Advance. It was released in North America on November 17th of 2003, and in Japan and Europe just 4 days after on November 21st. So I've talked about my love for Mario RPG specifically, and the Paper Mario franchise. And we've talked about this, really whenever we talk about Mario. But what's great about the Mario character and the environment is you can put them in really any type of environment,
Mhm.
and it works.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but you look at like the early days of the NES, Mario was a referee in the tennis game.
Yeah.
There's been RPGs, there's been educational games, your traditional platformers. Somehow it works because it's Mario, because he has that charm.
Yeah.
And so I was excited about this game when it first came out because I loved those two games that I mentioned so much. And this is very much a spiritual sequel to those games. And it's interesting because this actually came out before The Thousand Year Door, which is widely considered to be, the best Mario RPG ever made.
And this might
yeah,
get my Nintendo fanboy card revoked, but until you pop this into the Google Doc, I'd never heard of this game.
Really?
But to be fair, I was not a handheld gamer, and plus this was roughly, 2003, so I was on the road, with the band traveling, and I was an Xbox guy. Like, I took my Xbox on the road with me when we were traveling, and when I was home, I played Xbox. So I owned an original Game Boy back in like 91, and then I did not get another handheld until the Switch. So now I'm learning about all these cool games that I missed that are awesome. And now I'm just like, it's like I've discovered a whole new batch of games that I never got to play. Like the Link games that I missed that, I played a while back because they've been releasing all this stuff on Switch Online. So I've just been playing all this stuff that I missed.
And that's what's great about it, because I'm going to sound like a broken record too when I say this, but a lot of those great games for the handheld consoles, they didn't get the credit that they deserve because they were for handheld and not for the main Nintendo console. Like if this were for the GameCube, it would be one of the most popular games for that console. I'm 100% for that. Like I will put my reputation on.
You got to hand it to Nintendo for the art style that they use for these games and the graphic style that they use for these games that they still hold up to today. And you can go and play these games and they're great games. Like they don't age at all.
Yeah, and that's what's great about this too, is that it looks like a souped up Super Nintendo game, but it has that kind of cartoonish. I mean, like all the Mario games have a cartoonish art style to a degree.
Yeah,
but this is almost like a storybook kind of feel to it. Like Paper Mario had that, obviously to a degree because of the paper characters and the environment, but this is more like a modern cartoon, if you will. And what intrigued me the most about this game going into it is that with Mario RPG and Paper Mario, Luigi wasn't really a factor. Like in Mario RPG, he's not even in the game until the ending credits when he's leading the parade of characters that you meet throughout the game. With Paper Mario, he's hanging out at their house. So I liked that it put the two of them together.
Yeah.
Because it really expands on their dynamic, because their dynamic is so crucial to the game. Because what's cool about the turn-based, and I put this in my notes too, a lot of people don't like the turn-based style in RPGs.
Yeah.
This makes the turn-based system work because of the characters. Because you actually learn combo moves that you can use with the two of them together. So say like Mario can shoot fireballs as in tradition, but Luigi, in order to make him different, he shoots thunder instead of fire. But one of the coolest moves is that you get, you have your hammers like you do in most Mario games. There's a move, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called Fire Brothers, where Mario throws a fireball like a baseball to Luigi, and then he swings like a bat, and you hit the fireballs into the enemies,
That's
which
cool.
causes more damage. And what's cool is all these different combo moves that you learn. Once you successfully pull them off a certain number of times, you get upgraded versions of those moves that cause even more damage.
Yeah, I have
So
such a new appreciation for the the turn-based combat after playing Sea of Stars. I have no problem with turn-based combat now.
yeah, I don't really either. I have some criticisms with some games in the way that they've implemented it,
Yeah.
but this uses it very well. And what I like about this game too, and it's not to say that the other RPGs didn't have it, but this really emphasizes story and comedy. And there's so many funny situations, usually at Luigi's expense. To talk a little bit about the story of the game, there's the ruler of the Bean Bean Kingdom, which is neighboring to the Mushroom Kingdom. Cacletta and her assistant Fawful steal Peach's voice. And now anytime she talks, it causes like things around her to explode. Yeah, and when her voice is stolen at the beginning of the game, when she tries to speak, these little characters come up in like her word balloon, and then they'll drop on screen and cause things to explode.
That's inconvenient.
I know, right? Bowser shows up at the beginning of the game to kidnap her, and then she starts making stuff blow up, and he's like, "Screw this, I'm leaving." But a lot of the humor, not only with Luigi, but it's at Bowser's expense too. So once that happens, Bowser wants to help Mario get Peach's voice back, so then he can kidnap her. So what happens is you meet up with Bowser and his minions on his cruise ship or whatever. The thing is, like the all the badniks, to use a Sonic term, are running late, and the only one standing there is Luigi. So Bowser's like, "Hey, you, get on the ship," and Luigi's like, "No, no, I'm not going to do that." And then they show up, or all the minions show up, and then it cuts to a wide shot of the cruise ship taking off, chasing Luigi, who's running like crazy. And there's this crane that has like a little gloved hand comes out of it, grabs Luigi, and tosses him onto the ship.
Oh my gosh, this sounds fun.
Yeah, and it's really lighthearted, and you could tell it's made for a little bit of a younger audience, but I
Yeah.
appreciate the humor of it. And little things too, like Bowser loses his memory, but then whenever he gets it back, Cacletta possesses his body. So then he becomes Bowletta. So in a way, you fight this new villain with the addition of Bowser. So it's little things like that, and it plays like a traditional Mario game. You go to your different worlds, you learn new abilities. It's just a fun Mario game. And I really wish that, and not, don't get me wrong, I love this being on the Game Boy because I could take it with me wherever I wanted at the time. But this game would have gotten so much more recognition had it been for the GameCube. And I think the fact too is that, in addition to the humor, it's the layered story. Like you have this overarching story of having to rescue Peach in a sense, but she's not kidnapped. So you still have to help Peach, but it makes it different because the formula gets kind of tired after a while of like, oh, Peach gets kidnapped, so you got to go rescue her again. But you get to go to a different kingdom. It kind of expands the Mario universe, which I really like because a lot of times it gets, kind of scaled down to just the Mushroom Kingdom. And I like games like this and like Mario Sunshine where you have the characters go outside of their normal element.
Well, it sounds to me and I've never played this game before, but just seeing the pictures of it and hearing the description, sounds like that this new Mario and Luigi Brothership game might be very similar to this. That the new game
Yeah,
that's about to come out.
it is because I think it has the same art style.
Yeah, that's why, because when I saw the, looking at the screenshots and everything, I'm like, that this looks a lot like the trailer for Brothership.
Yeah, it does. And there have been some sequels to this game that are just as good, like Bowser's Inside Story, which I believe was for the DS originally. That's a really good one too. There's just so much about this game to like, but what I like about it the most is what drew me into gaming in the first place. It's got a great story. And
Yeah,
it can be tough to do, especially with these established franchises. Like, there's only so many times that Sonic can just fight Dr. Robotnik.
yeah,
There's only so many times that Star Fox can fight Andross. There's only so many times that Mario can fight Bowser. So what do? You put them in a new environment.
yeah. Team them up
And I
for a new
yeah,
enemy.
yeah, and the thing is too is with those RPG games and even, with some of the other ones, other Mario games, this was the first one that I can honestly remember that put an emphasis on Mario and Luigi being brothers and having to work together.
Yeah. It's just
So
crazy when you think
it really,
about it.
it's,
And
yeah,
when you think about how Nintendo was successful at moving Mario and the whole Mario, you know, world into the 3D environment with Mario 64, and then you get stuff like this afterwards, like Sonic, like poor Sonic, man. He just had a rough time trying to get out of that 2D side-scrolling environment.
and even with the more recent installment, like Sonic Superstars was all right, but it didn't have that same magic as those original Genesis games to me.
Yeah.
But I think with, and I don't want to go off on a Sonic tangent, but I think the Sonic character has really helped like keep him relevant.
Hmm.
Like that's why those movies were one of the reasons why those movies were so successful
Yeah.
because they accurately captured the Sonic character. That's why the Mario movie worked so well because they actually captured and added to the lore of Mario.
Hmm.
But what's also good about this game is that a lot of people can be intimidated by RPGs because of how like in depth you have to go in. And this is a pretty in depth game, but it's also really easy to pick up. Like the gameplay is super easy. Everything you do with the A button is associated with Mario.
Hmm.
Everything with the B button is associated with Luigi. That's really all you
Yeah.
gotta know. Like once you team them up, like even when you're doing the battles, you hit A for Mario to get, and they each have their own differences in a way, but it's really what makes them work together as to why I think this game works. Like there are some times where you have to be the individual characters. So like there's a part of the game where Mario accidentally eats a poison mushroom, so he gets really sick. So you have to go as Luigi to find the antidote. So for that period of time, you have to play as just Luigi, but it still plays really well.
And that's always
I
interesting.
love,
And one of the things I love about turn-based RPGs is when you get really good combos between your characters. Like that's what it makes it fun, is figuring out what all the great combos are that you can do.
yeah, and just to list a couple of the combo attacks, they're called brothers attacks because much like when you level up, you can choose to upgrade like your HP or your attack or your defense. You can also increase your BP, which is brothers points. It's a whole separate thing from individual special attacks, which I really like. But they each have different combos. So like with Mario, there's the Fire Brothers one that I mentioned. There's also the Splash Brothers, which is let's see, It's based off the spin jump. The move involves Mario jumping on Luigi, throwing him in the air. Then Luigi jumps under Mario, grabs him, and they both do a spin jump. So it's almost like you're doing these almost kind of acrobatic style moves that are really cool to watch. And they can be a little complex to pull off because you've got to hit A at a certain time or you got to hit B at a certain time. But it's no different than what you've had to do in like your Paper Mario or, a game like that.
Yeah. And that's what Mushmouth's saying in the chat room is any turn-based RPG with real-time button attacks is his jam. Paper Mario, Mario and Luigi, Legend of Dragoon, knows there's others. And I've never played the South Park games, the Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole. I know they're great. I've just never gotten around to playing them.
Yeah, I've wanted to for a long time, and I've heard nothing but good things about them. Like I've had friends that have played them and have said they're really good, but one day,
Yeah.
one day I'll get to play them.
One day I'll be retired and I get to play everything I ever wanted to play.
What does retirement mean?
Yeah, no kidding.
But it says here that Legend of the Seven Stars Super Mario RPG co-director Yoshiko Mayukawa is said to take its inspiration from Paper Mario. The two games have similar graphics and gameplay. The producers of the game were Shigeru Miyamoto, of course, the creator of the Mario franchise, Tetsuo Mizuno, and Satoru Iwata, who was the president of Nintendo at the time. The voice acting is, of course, provided by the great Charles Martinet, and the game's music was composed by Yoko Shimomura, who also previously composed the soundtrack for Super Mario RPG. And you heard a little taste of it at the beginning of the review. While I won't say the soundtrack is not bad at all, like it's solid and it definitely fits the style of game that this is. But I couldn't really tell you a specific track that stands out to me. Like with every Mario game, there's one or two that I could say like, oh, that's by far my favorite of the whole game. But that's not to knock the soundtrack. Like it's actually quite good. I was listening to a good bit of it at work today, kind of gearing up for the review. But it's pretty good.
She's really prolific too. I saw something with her in it not too long ago about video game music. And she actually did music for Final Fight, Street Fighter 2, King of Dragons, Kingdom. She did the music for Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 15, of course, Super Mario RPG, Mario and Luigi, Parasite Eve, Legend of Mana, Xenoblade Chronicles. Like she has done a lot of work for video games over the last like 35 years or so.
She's not as well known as Koji Kondo, but to me, her resume is like right up there with his.
Yeah.
Just some of the best, most iconic soundtracks in all of gaming have been done by her. 100%. But as far as the reception of the game goes, Superstar Saga received universal acclaim according to the review aggregator Metacritic. The game's comical dialogue and themes in particular were lauded by critics. Eurogamer's Tom Bramwell commented that each line of dialogue and indefinable cameo is handled with a loving sense of humor. Despite this, RP Gamer's Andrew Long labeled the plot as repetitive and the game's characters as a tad shallow. I disagree with that. While also appreciating references to the heritage of the Mario series, critics praised the game for avoiding cliches common in previous games of the Mario series. And some of the number scores that it got, let's see, EGM gave it 8.83 out of 10, Eurogamer 9 out of 10, Game Informer 9.5, GameSpot 9.2, GameSpy 8.5, IGN 9 out of 10, Nintendo Power 4.7 out of 5, Play gave it an A-. So really, really highly regarded game. And I'm going to have to give it a number that's straight up there. I would say I'd give this a solid 9. It's a really, really fun RPG. Not just in the Mario universe, but it is a fun RPG. If you're a Mario fan, you will appreciate it that much more because of the kind of the references you get to some of the older games. So it acknowledges the previous history, which I always appreciate because a lot of the Mario titles seem to be very self-contained. But this is a really nice addition and the start to what I consider to be an underrated aspect of the Mario franchise.
And it is on the Nintendo Switch Online now.
Yep.
So if you got it, go play it. Looks like it's
Yeah,
really fun.
Yeah, it is. I think you would actually really like it if you
Yeah,
give
I
it a
think
shot.
I might have to pick this one up and play it.
Yeah, you should. It's really really fun, and I'm so glad that I finally got a chance to go back and play a good chunk of this game.
Let's put a little something here in the note. A little for next week. I wanted to make sure I put in here a little Samson. I put little Simpson. No, it's not
AKA Baby Bart.
No, it's not a Simpson game. But yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of the review. And next week, I was looking for a Mario game to do, but there's so many, and we've covered so many. I'm just going to stick to my original plan and do Little Samson. I put up it tied with whatever. What was the last game I did? It's been a while since I've done a review. I don't even remember the last game I did, but I put up a poll on Patreon, and it tied with whatever. What was it? Oh, it was Super Adventure Island that I did.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it tied with Super Adventure Island. So next week will be Little Samson, and then after that, I'll put up a new poll on the Patreon for you guys to in the upper tiers to tell me what you want me to review. And as usual, if you're a patron, you're a higher tier, send me a message. Send us a message of what you want us to play, and we'll get to it, because that's what you pay for over there on Patreon.com. And Derek, before we get out of here, what's going on over there at Real Wisdom?
So yeah, episode 2 of Real Wisdom came out this past week. I chatted with author Joe Lansdale, he's an author and a screenwriter, and several of his works have been adapted into movies and shows. So we talk about what goes into getting your work adapted and also working on other adapted pieces of work, because he's also written a few episodes of Batman the Animated Series. So he talks about that, and it's a really interesting chat about something you may not think about when it comes to, like if you're watching a movie or a show and you see like based on the book, whatever by Joe Lansdale or whoever. Is an interesting story into how that works. So you can go check that out at linktree.com/realwisdompod. That's REEL Wisdom Pod.
I started listening to that one today and did get to finish it. I'm going to finish it tomorrow. And the other day, I finally got to listen to the what's the name? David Hyde?
Alex Hyde White.
Alex Hyde White. And that was a really interesting interview that you did with him, especially when it came to the Fantastic Four stuff, because I would listen to an entire podcast about the making of that 1994 Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, we could have gone a lot longer when it came to that. It's just he's done so much that it was like trying to fit everything in one episode. And there's actually, I'll tell this funny story real quick. So he only lives like 10-15 minutes from me. So when he showed up with this giant bottle of beer, and he says, "Let's do this Joe Rogan style." And I'm like, all right, let's do it. Yeah,
that's a great episode. And it's only on episode 2. So if you haven't listened to any of Derek's stuff, now's the perfect time to start, right over there at Real Wisdom, and it available wherever podcasts are given away for free. So go subscribe now. Do it now. Like stop, pause here, and go subscribe and listen.
As Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, "Do it now."
Do it now. And also go check out the Open Micers podcast. We've had so many ridiculously good guests on. Go to
I'm gonna have to reach out to
openmicers.com.
Jacob and ask him what his secret
Dude,
is.
I don't know what he's doing lately, but he's been getting some of the best. They just keep getting better and better. If you've never heard of him, last week we had comedian Keith Robinson on, and this dude's been around since like the 80s. He has been on TV shows. He's been had his own specials. He just had a Netflix special drop a couple of months ago. He's a very well-known like he's a comedian's comedian, and he had a stroke a couple of years ago during the pandemic. So that's, we kind of talked to him about that, and I laughed so much during that episode because the dude is he's on another level. Like, I'll never be that funny as a comedian. Like, that dude's just naturally funny, and he's been around for years. So go check out that episode. We had Jenna Kim Jones on a few weeks ago. Patty Dwyer came back to do headliners. We had Liz Mealy on a few weeks ago. It's been crazy. So go check out the Open Micers podcast at Open Micers, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, all the places, and go check out the show. So, Derek, is that everything for this week?
I did want to say real quick, I think the Keith Robinson episode that you guys did is one of the best shows y'all have done.
Oh, thank you. Because
it was fun.
That was the first thing I texted Jacob afterwards. I was like, that's probably the best episode we've ever had. Because that dude is he's insanely funny.
Yeah, it's probably top 3 of Open Micers episodes that y'all have done.
Just hearing him talk about the stroke he had and why he had the stroke and what he was doing while he had the stroke is probably one of the funniest stories I've ever heard in my life. So go check it out, please. And go watch the Netflix special too. The Netflix special's great. But I think that's everything. Is that everything for this week?
I think so.
Well, let's walk out the door. If you want to email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. Nerdcaveretro.com is our link tree. That takes you everywhere you need to go as far as our socials, our Patreon, and of course, our merch shop, which is at ncrmerch.com. Look, we got stickers, hats, magnets, t-shirts, bags, mugs, whatever you need over there at our merch shop. We got all kind of different designs. Just go check it out, ncrmerch.com. And also, I understand if you can't be a patron, can't give us $1 a month. Like, I understand times are tight. You can't afford any merch. Go leave us a review and/or a 5-star rating on all podcasting platforms. And Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
Saga.
Yeah.
Hey, paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
And that's an episode. Yeah. Makes me want to go watch Super Mario Brothers Super Show now.
I know.
But then if I watch that show, I'm going to want to eat pasta because that's all they do is eat pasta on that show. But thank you guys.
So many pasta references.
We need to do that again for a commentary track. We might as well just
start
doing like 4 commentary tracks a month because we got so much to do. Just do a whole separate show for commentary tracks.
NCR commentary.
Yeah. But thank you guys for watching on YouTube, and we will see all of you next week.